Good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harapsky. Happening right now, the federal government is shut down. This is the first time that it's happened since 2018, and we're going to look at the moment leading into it last night.
The 60-vote threshold having not been achieved, the bill upon reconsideration is not passed.
That was Congress failing to pass a bill to keep the federal funding flowing. The main sticking point is health care. Democrats held back their votes demanding money for health care subsidies, but Republicans say those discussions can wait. This is the first government shutdown in nearly 7 years, and we don't know how long it's going to last. Alice Barr has the latest.
With the nation now plunged into a government shutdown, leaders of the two parties are in their corners showing no signs of negotiating.
They have taken the American people hostage in a way that they think benefits them politically.
They're afraid of the truth. They know that what they've done to health care has decimated health care.
Last-ditch stopgap funding votes failing in the Senate, with Democrats holding out to restore health care cuts and extend Obamacare subsidies.
Premiums and copays and deductibles are about to skyrocket, bankrupting many Americans.
Republicans argue those discussions can wait, voicing pessimism about the current standstill.
There literally is nothing to negotiate. They're bringing in extraneous issues that don't have anything to do at all with keeping the government open.
Despite the shutdown, Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits will continue, along with student loans. But national parks could close, and roughly 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed. Many more, including TSA agents, required to work without pay until the shutdown ends.
We're looking for bombs, weapons, stuff like that, and you can't miss, right? So you don't want officers with added stress of how am I going to pay my bills?
President Trump raising the stakes, reiterating his threat of mass layoffs while blaming Democrats.
Cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Democrats adamant those cuts are already happening, pushing for leverage now.
They've got to sit down and negotiate with Democrats.
As the nation waits for what's next. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New this afternoon, the Supreme Court letting Lisa Cook remain as a Federal Reserve governor, and in turn declining President Trump's request that she be removed immediately from the central bank. This means that Cook will stay in the office while the legal decision on whether Trump can fire the Federal Reserve Board member is decided. According to documents, the court will hear oral arguments in January, with the final ruling expected to come in June. Today, pressure is mounting after Governor Walz and DFL leaders released their most detailed proposal yet for a special session to respond to the Annunciation Church shooting. They want it to happen this coming Monday, but Republican leaders won't agree to the proposal. Danny Spiewak has a closer look at this latest twist.
For the first time since the Annunciation Church shooting, Governor Walz and DFL leaders released their proposal for a special session. The plan lists an assault weapons and high-capacity magazine ban as the #1 priority bill, while also including ideas that Republicans might support, like school safety and mental health funding.
We came to the table in good faith.
House DFL leader Zach Stevenson, Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy, and Governor Walz all signed the proposal, but Republican leadership did not. In this divided legislature, no bill can pass without bipartisan support.
We're never going to give up on taking meaningful action to prevent gun violence, and in order to pass anything meaningful, we will need Republican votes.
In the tied House, Republican Speaker Lisa Dameth and Floor Leader Harry Niska made a counter-proposal for a special session focusing on school safety, mental health, and public safety.
Very, very hard topics, but things that have to get done.
But the GOP proposal made no explicit mention of an assault weapons or high-capacity magazine ban that Annunciation families have demanded.
Does your caucus support anything even close to what they're asking for?
I don't think that there are any Republican House votes in favor of those kind of proposals, but it's again, you have to actually have bill language, you have to have hearing.
Representative Niska says he doesn't support even holding a vote on the assault weapons ban.
Other states that have done that are A, tied up in legal challenges, and B, haven't really seen results that would suggest that that's a real solution to the problem.
In the Senate, where the DFL has a one-vote majority, it's also not clear whether all Democrats would support a ban.
How many members of your caucus would vote yes on an assault weapons ban if it was held tomorrow?
This is a hard vote.
Leader Murphy says she continues to talk with a few of the DFL senators in swing districts that are considered questionable on the ban.
And I'm counting my votes, and I will let you know. But no one has said hell no.
Danny Spiewak reporting there. Senate GOP Minority Leader Mark Johnson said a virtual meeting with Governor Walz and other leaders broke down after 10 minutes. But it doesn't seem like any of the legislative leaders have stopped negotiating. Remember, Governor Walz is the only person in the state with the authority to call a special session. Developing today, immigration officials say they're seeing a surge in immigration fraud in Minnesota. They say over a 10-day investigation, they found 275 cases of immigration fraud. Many of those involved a U.S. citizen or green card holder getting into a sham marriage to get a non-citizen into the U.S.
Our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies.
Despite finding those 275 cases of suspected marriage fraud, ICE officials have only made 4 arrests. They say they'll investigate further before pursuing more charges. Let's turn now to a disturbing story at White Bear Lake High School. Did you hear this one? Police say a person in their 20s was pretending to be a high school student. The district says this individual used fake documentation and false identity to enroll. Raya Katene talked to students and parents who say they know him.
Word travels fast on a high school campus.
It was just really awful to hear about.
And White Bear Lake High School is no exception.
How can this happen?
As students learn that one of their peers this school year was an adult posing as a teenager.
I am still at shock, and I know my peers are in shock.
When I found out, I was really shocked. I was like, you've been with all these girls, like talking to them, having them on Snapchat, and you're 22 in a high school. That's just like so disgusting to me.
According to the district, the person is older than 21 and enrolled in the school using fraudulent documents and a fake identity. The district and White Bear Lake Police have not released the person's identity, but some students say he was a well-known figure at the school and even played on the football team, allegedly posing as a 17-year-old.
So that's like 50 kids on the football team that you just were showering next to, minors.
In an email to families, Principal Russ Reed says the person is now in police custody and not allowed on district property. But Connor Tran, who's a junior and his class officer, says questions loom of how this person could have slipped through the system.
Will this happen again, and how can we take steps to prevent that?
The district says its enrollment process is as rigorous as state law allows, and appropriate steps are taken anytime there is a potential threat to student safety.
All right, take a look at your screen right now. If you have any of these products, you got to throw them out as they have been linked to a deadly listeria outbreak. They include Walmart's market-side linguine with beef meatballs and Trader Joe's Cajun-style blackened chicken breast fettuccine Alfredo. CDC says 4 people have died so far in the recall that is impacting Minnesota and 14 other states seen on this map here. Of the 20 confirmed cases, we know at least 2 people here are sick. Again, if you have any of those products, you got to throw them out. CDC also advises cleaning your fridge and other surfaces that those products may have touched. Heads up for drivers. Today is the first day the city of Minneapolis has its new speed cameras up and running. Take a look at this map. These are the 5 locations where those cameras are located. They include 3rd Street near 1st Avenue and Nicollet Avenue near 46th. These are areas the city says have had speeding issues and are within 2,000 feet of a school.
We know that since the pandemic, we have seen a huge uptick in unsafe driving in cities around our country and certainly here in Minneapolis. So that's really what propelled me to want to be part of this legislation.
For the first month, only warnings are going to be issued, so no citations. But after the month is up, first violation will be a warning with tickets to follow with each violation. City says it plans to add more cameras next year. New today, there are no injuries nor deaths after a gas explosion caused part of a high-rise to collapse in New York City. Look at these aerial views from the aftermath in the Bronx. Authorities say the blast resulted in the collapse of the incineration shaft, but so far it seems that the 17-story building did not suffer any other significant damages.
as it has been said, we are thankful that there were no fatalities and no injuries, as we have learned that this happened in the boiler room. But most importantly for all of us, elected officials and community leaders here, we want to ensure that the structural integrity of this building here at Mitchell is maintained. And so over the next several hours, as inspectors are in the building, we will do everything possible to make sure that we minimize the disruption and the anxiety of the residents and the families here in this working class community.
Switching gears, happening right now in Indonesia, the search for the missing students days after an Islamic boarding school collapsed during an afternoon prayer. This is in East Java province, about 420 miles east of Jakarta. As of today, 91 remain missing, most of them boys aged between 12 and 18. They're believed to be trapped under the rubble since the collapse on Monday, running out of water, food, and oxygen. Authorities confirm that at least 3 people have died and hundreds have been injured. Stick with us, we got more news and weather. It's coming up after the break.